Hello, and welcome to Sideways. This week, we're talking about alcohol-free beer, what it means, why it's not as good as it sounds for some of us, what it has to do with a 1970s football manager, and how the supermarkets were trying to get us pissed when we were only 11 years old. The truth about alcohol-free beer. Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Is it evening?
Oh, no, it's still afternoon then, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
in reality.
I would have said so.
You got no hat on today, which is
that's only due to the weather.
I know, it's warm today, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could conceivably have tolerated being on my head today would have been a shower cap.
Well, this goes out on Thursday. The weather might have changed by then, but this is Tuesday afternoon we're recording this, and it's pretty blisteringly hot, isn't it?
It's balmy, isn't it? I think is the word.
Yeah, I think that's the word.
Yeah. I don't like it. I'm not. I think I've said this before on this podcast that I'm not a fan of the heat myself.
No, I know you're not. I like it. Hotter the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Really?
Yeah.
No, but you can't do anything though. It saps your energy, doesn't it?
I know. It makes you feel better.
It doesn't make me feel better, so that's just selfish talk.
Well, as long as I'm okay, it doesn't really matter about the rest of them.
Yeah, that's very typical of you. That is.
Yeah, you're going to say something else then. I think you bit your tongue then, just at that moment.
No, I was going to say it's very typical of you.
All right, okay. Yeah.
I was trying to think of something more insulting to say, but
yeah, I know. I could see you struggling.
Anyway, never mind that. You're sapping my energy already. I'm not even sure I can be bothered to talk about anything today. I'm so hot.
No, well, should we just wing it then, see how we get on?
Well, what you mean, like usual?
You like usual, yeah, exactly, yeah. Whatever the weather.
So what are we going to talk about today?
My working title for this week was the truth about alcohol-free beer.
Very good. So this one sounds like it's going to be about alcohol-free beer.
It is going to be about alcohol-free beer, or wine as well. I mean, it's won't just limit it just to beer and lager. Anything that's purports to look and taste like alcohol but has no alcohol in it.
Right. I should sort of confess at this point that I don't know anything about alcohol-free or low-alcohol wine, but I do know a bit about low-alcohol or alcohol-free beer. So I don't know if that's any good to you.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. That makes up the bulk of what I want to talk about anyway. Yeah, and we need to actually look at what alcohol-free beer really is.
Here we go. We
need to clear it up a little bit. Well, there's a lot.
This is you being typically pedantic.
I'm not being pedantic. I'm just looking at it from a perspective as a, without the knowledge and the truth behind exactly what's going on, we can't make decisions, can we? I mean, do you remember back in? It would have been like early 80s when the first alcohol-free beer really sort of started to hit the streets.
So I do remember it.
Do you remember what it was called?
Yeah, it was called Barbican. It's great.
It was. Yeah, aye. And yes, well, exactly. You do remember who advertised it on the TV in that case?
Yeah, it was Laurie McMenemy.
It was Laurie McMenemy.
He was the late Laurie McMenemy, I would imagine. He must be dead.
I think he is actually. Yeah, I mean he was manager of Southampton, wasn't he, in the 70s when they won the cup?
I don't think that killed him, though, did it?
It didn't kill him, although he was second in command to Graham Taylor, wasn't he, in charge of the England team, which were probably.
Do I not like that?
Which is probably one of the poorest periods of England football ever.
Yeah, Graham Taylor's dead as well. Is there a link that we haven't identified?
I think it must be drinking alcohol-free beer because he used to drink it. I mean, I think the irony of that was he was very big, and they signed him up as the name to front Barbican alcohol-free beer. He'd been on telly doing a few adverts for a few months, and then he got caught for drink driving. So we can only assume that however good the taste of Barbican was and tried to convince us that it was great, it clearly wasn't good enough for him.
Well, let's just ponder on that for a second, the taste of the first alcohol-free beers, because I can remember the first time I ever tasted it, I was up the back field playing football in the old five-a-side goals that used to be up there, you remember?
I do, yeah, very well.
Yeah. I think I was either with I was probably with Dave Clark at the time, and we'd scored ourselves some Barbicans, thinking, "Hang on, this is all right, isn't it?" Because we're able to drink some lagers, and we would have been underage at that point. And I have to say that the whole experience left me somewhat disappointed. It was not the tasty beverage that I had imagined it would be.
What that McMenemy had told you it was going to be.
He said it. He said, I particularly remember him saying, "It's great, man," and it wasn't.
It clearly wasn't.
It was shocking.
No, it's bloody horrible stuff. You're right. I mean, and that was supposed to be alcohol-free beer, but it did have a little bit of alcohol in it, and that's where the confusion starts, really, doesn't it? Because I mean, if it's under 0.5% ABV,
yeah,
so 0.5%, in the UK, there are no licensing laws that restrict the sale of that, so anyone can buy them, including children. But the labelling requirements that go on those beers are different. And so to call a drink alcohol-free beer, it has to be under 0.05% ABV. So it's a little bit confusing, but at the end of the day, it's there's well, I want to go on to it later in the podcast as to how, generally speaking, how it can be good for people who don't have an issue with alcohol, and generally speaking, it can be bad for people that do. But we'll come on to that in a moment.
The way that one can approach low alcohol or zero alcohol beers without coming from a background in addiction is very different from the way one needs to approach the whole area if you do come from a background of addiction, right?
Yes, yeah, totally.
I've been toying with the subject of low alcohol or alcohol-free craft beers recently. So, I've been wearing open-toed sandals, growing a beard, getting my tankard out. And, and some of them are very nice. But it's very dangerous territory, isn't it, if you are in recovery?
It is very dangerous. I mean, it's. I know when I first went into recovery, I used to drink them.
I remember.
And I thought, and I thought this is okay. It tasted pretty similar. It was the Beck's Blue I used to drink. I thought this tastes okay, but I pretty quickly shied away from it, really, for a couple of reasons. I mean, normally people I'd only ever drink them if they were bought for me. If I go to someone's barbecue, for example, they knew I was in recovery, and they very dutifully bought something that they felt was going to be okay, and so I used to drink them. But the taste was okay. It wasn't that brilliant. I sort of preferred soft drinks, really. But so that was one of the reasons I sort of shied away from them. But secondly, as the further I went into recovery, I came across on more than one occasion situations where people had gone into recovery and they had, again, tried, like I had, the alcohol-free beer. And I had two particular guys, by their own admission, said it sort of led them back on to the full strength beers and onto a relapse. So, and then there was also a lady who'd done exactly the same on alcohol-free wine.
Yeah.
Wine was her particular tipple, and she tried the alcohol-free stuff. Hadn't really delivered. Pretty much like your experience up the backfield with Dave Clark.
But just if I can stop you there, when you say she'd have tried the alcohol-free stuff, hadn't really delivered. That's what I'm interested in discussing with you, because it's at that point that phrase takes divergent paths depending on whether you come from a background of addiction or not, and also what you're looking for in that drink, right? Because one of the things I really like about drinking low alcohol or no alcohol beers is because they taste really nice. Some of them taste just like, ordinary beers. But I think to myself, that's good, because it's better for me that I'm not drinking alcohol. Now, I'm not doing it because I worry about a dependency on alcohol because I haven't got one. But I do it because I think, from the sake of my body, that's a nice thing. I can still enjoy something that I like the taste of, but it's doing me less harm. But of course, coming from a background of addiction, you're not thinking like that about it, are you?
No, you're not. You're not thinking about it at all. And I think it's sort of, they can provide sort of a sort of sensory cues that to connect us to our past behaviour. And the taste can be a real trigger. I mean, it can easily lead us back to full strength, as I've illustrated earlier on. But I think it's like the feel of the bottle in the hand. It's like the popping of the cap. It makes our mind and body sort of expect, that it's going to receive alcohol. And it's a bit like the ritualisation that we talked about in the past, that drug addicts, you start to feel better almost when you start to rack up, a line of Coke, for example, or you start to skin up a joint, and the excitement is starting then. And if it's not fulfilled at that point, it's very tricky. If it's something. So
there's a huge amount that is about the ritual.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot about it, and it's. I think it's a bit of a social stigma. I think people feel that having a soft drink at a social gathering is not acceptable. And I think that is changing, but I think the change is coming very slowly. I mean, I was watching Sunday Morning Live the other. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there's a guy on there who. He used to be he was Made in Chelsea. I don't know what his name was. I've never actually watched the programme, but he said he's now teetotal
or something.
I've got no idea, mate. I've never watched it. I wouldn't know. If you said the name, I still wouldn't know.
Crispin sounds like the sort of name that someone who lived in Chelsea would have.
Yes, someone lives in Chelsea. Yes, whether he'd make the show or not, I really don't know. I can't comment upon that because I've never watched it. But he was making what he calls clean mocktails.
Right.
So he's making up the drinks. But he said he really, since he's gone on to those, he really loves not drinking, and he said he wants to make sobriety cool. And I think that it is gradually gathering pace, that sort of thought process where, sober is sexy, if you like. Sober is good. There's nothing to be ashamed of, because it'd be dreadful, really, if the shame of not drinking is as bad as drinking too much and becoming an alcoholic.
Well, but I think in our society it is, isn't it? It is at the moment, particularly with young people. There is a stigma attached to not drinking in the same way as there is a stigma attached to having a problem with drink. In fact, if anything, it's probably cooler to have a bit of a problem with drink than it is to not drink at all.
It is, and that's where the problem starts. We know during lockdown, alcohol sales, especially online alcohol sales, have been driven up tremendously, and it's been delivered to people. Again, there's been problems with it being delivered to underage people, especially people like the Uber Eats or whatever, delivering vodka and that sort of thing to underage people. So there's been a bit of an epidemic building up. I don't want to go off the subject here, but there is a problem, and it is really
the Uber one that you're referring to. I think the Uber one was about them delivering vodka to someone who had a serious dependency, and his family were worried that if they didn't stop delivering him vodka, that he was going to have a seizure and die. They were kind of. I think there was. I seem to remember reading something about how at one point he was lowering a bag down through his bedroom window so they could put it in so he could reel it back up again. I mean,
yes. And I mean, that shows the extent, the lengths we'll go to when our addiction is in full flow, is to get a drug of choice. But again, when you read other articles about Uber, they've been delivering them and hiding them in the or putting them in the front garden, so the people there's all of them can nip out and pick them up. Well, they've been hiding them behind the bins and that sort of thing. Anyway, we've got off subject really. That was your fault. You dragged me away from what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, it's the heat.
So going back to that, the ritualisation and that sort of thing, it's dangerous territory for people in recovery. We recommend not to go down that route. So I think as I've gone on later in recovery, I have had them from time to time, but I don't really see the point, I must admit.
No, in fact, so when I kind of started thinking about this, I was thinking, oh, that's quite good, having really good quality, low or no alcohol beers. In fact, it's the reverse, isn't it? Because for reasons we've discussed, they're absolutely no good for someone who has any sort of history with addiction. Because if anything, making the taste better is even more likely to lead someone into the real stuff. And then there's something else as well, isn't there? Which is, I can remember saying to you, I imagine that people would think that if they're drinking something that's zero alcohol, but it tastes like beer, there's nothing kind of wrong with having one in the morning, is there? If the sun's shining, you think, instead of having an orange squash, I'm going to have a can of this zero alcohol beer. But actually, that's the same sort of thing, isn't it? Because it's getting you used to the idea of tasting beer in the morning. That's not a great look.
It's not. I hadn't really thought about that, but no, yes, it's not really having that with your cornflakes is not ideal, is it?
Not really, because I think if you can say, oh well, I'm going to have this because it's low alcohol or no alcohol. But then what happens if you fancy one and you haven't got any no alcohol beers in the house, but you have got real strength beers? I mean, it's not yourself, caning it in the morning.
Exactly. It's dangerous all round for people in recovery. But I do see there's a place for them. And if it does take people away from drinking, if it stops, say if you're telling me the taste is as good as it is, and it stops people drink driving, for example, and they go out and they can have a couple of those instead, I think that's fine. But it's no good for people like me.
No, but that's right. So I think what we're saying is there is a place for it, and the market for low alcohol, no alcohol beers, it's good if they're good quality and they taste good. And it's also good if people are thinking, well, I'm going to drink those instead of ordinary beer, not because I have a problem, but because I just think it's better for me.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think going back to that thing about what our expectations are, what they're going to deliver. I remember a friend of mine, he went to a party and it was a barbecue. It was outside, it was in the summer. And they had one of those big barrels sitting outside full of water and ice. And everyone that came on put all their beer into it and all their drinks to keep them cool. Yeah. And so he put his beer into there and he dipped in and he took out what he thought was a normal Beck's and clicked it open and drank it. And after he drank about 4 or 5 of them, he suddenly realised he wasn't getting drunk at all. He was getting no effect at all. So the delivery for him was totally what he thought was going to happen, by which time it was time to go home and he felt cheated. So there's another side to it as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it, to see if I imagine there probably is some sort of psychosomatic connection as well. If you were drinking, if it became that good and people were drinking it without knowing, I expect there would be some sort of psychological feelings of inebriation, even if there wasn't any physical inebriation.
Well, I think that's right. Again, there was something else I was reading about this. I wasn't quite sure about it really, but it was saying exactly that. If you do have a problem with it, it can give you the perception that you are getting drunk. But whether that's true or not, I don't know. I've never had one or two.
The brain can do a lot of strange things to it, can't it?
Yes.
You've only got to look at that Steve McLaren interview when he became a Dutch football manager to know that.
Well, he started to speak with a Dutch accent. Yeah, he did. It's exactly the same as Joey Barton didn't he, when he went to play in France for Marseille. Yeah. And they were interviewing him and he started to speak with English, but with the French accent. Made a real twit of himself. But
that is actually that's a psychological phenomenon. It's something that we do to try and ingratiate ourselves with local people to try and help us fit in quickly.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. And I mean, my brother is a great example of this because years and years ago, he must have been, I expect he was probably in his late teens. I mean, he's in his 60s now. But in his late, because we can remember this happening. He went on holiday to the North York Moors for a week or two onto the steam railway because, he's been he's worked on steam railways all his life. And so he went away to North Yorkshire for 2 weeks. He came back and he spoke with a Yorkshire accent and he's kept it ever since.
Has he really?
Yeah, he came back.
Weird, isn't it?
He came back and he started calling me our kid. All right, our kid, he said. I thought, crikey, what's going on here? He's lived in the south of England all his life, and now he's speaking as if he's just dropped out of Last of the Summer Wine.
It reminds me really of that Kevin and Perry, Harry Enfield.
Yeah.
That sketch where Perry goes away to Manchester for a week and comes back and starts speaking with a Manchester accent. And Kevin tries to ingratiate himself with him by trying to do a Mancunian accent, and he's speaking sort of Cornish. It's quite a good sketch. But yeah, this is that. But I remember we had a girl come back to groups. She'd been away to Ireland to see her folks, and she'd come back and she had an Irish accent.
Yeah,
it's really weird. And we mentioned it to her. She had a very slight Irish accent anyway, but she came back and a very thick accent at that point.
Did it stick, or did it go
off? No, gradually drifted away once you've been back in the UK or back in England for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, but my brother's just stuck for 40 years. What's going on there?
He's obviously a fan. He thinks it gives him a bit of gravitas in some areas. I don't know where. Perhaps amongst the steam railway enthusiasts, perhaps that's it's a big tick to have a Yorkshire accent.
All right, Graham. That's what he says to me. He's like talking to Jeffrey Boycott. This phenomenon of low alcohol and zero alcohol is not new, is it? Because do you remember Top Deck?
I do. I mean, I used to drink that as a kid. I mean, it's and I didn't realise at the time it had any alcohol content, but it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what the alcohol content was of Top Deck? Because people of a certain age will remember Top Deck.
I know it was a Top Deck shandy, and you could buy it in a couple of different sizes. But I know we used to drink it. I know I was only about 11 or 12, and I used to meet up with my friends in town, and we'd often go and buy a Top Deck shandy and go and sit somewhere and drink that and have a sandwich or whatever. But I don't know what the ABV was of that. No,
it was something like 2%.
Was it?
Yeah, so I can remember reading something that said it was about a quarter of the strength of normal beer.
Wow.
So, Top Deck might have been instrumental in your slide into addiction.
Well, it could well have been. I mean, that would have been. I mean, 2% it's quite pokey for someone of 11 or 12, isn't it? Really?
Well, not for you. I mean, you'd have been an old hand at that. I used to like the lager and lime one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I remember those. Yeah, a bit more of a twang to them.
Yeah, I used to get those over Mace.
Yeah, we have got sidetracked again. I was just going back to that sort of wanting to making sobriety cool.
Oh yeah, go back to that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's an important message. Again, on that programme, that Sunday Morning Live that I was watching, there's a girl on there who, again, she was about middle 20s, and she'd given up alcohol. She gave it up 2.5 years ago. And she was saying how much better her mental health issues have cleared up, and how much cleaner and brighter she feels. And again, she said she used the phrase, it made her feel a bit more sexy. There wasn't any there were no hangovers to deal with, and everything just seemed cleaner and brighter, and she was in a much happier place. But there's also showing on there about educating people about what 14 units looks like, because we know the government limit suggests that the safe amount to drink is under 14 units a week, and that's for both men and women now. And they're showing it, which is basically six pints of lager or 6 glasses of wine. So, which is quite a low amount, really, over the week. So many people would go over that. I think, looking at my situation, I think I probably used up. Well, I was trying to calculate it out. If I've drunk all the government allowances in advance, effectively, that's right. So I'll be safe to drink again when I'm about 136. So I'm all right. I'm looking forward to that.
I was just thinking about that because I was thinking you were probably doing your weekly units on the hour, weren't you? Pretty much.
6. Yeah, I'd have been about 3 or 4 times limit each day. I'd be quite easily.
Yeah. I mean, every sort of morning and afternoon, you'd have probably gotten through a week's units, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You were working hard at it.
Yeah. So yes, but yeah, there's light at the end of the tunnel. When I'm
Yeah.
in my 100, when I'm in my 130s, I can say, right, I'm back to par again now. I'm okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I look forward to that. Maybe we can have a little party.
I'll have a top deck to celebrate.
I don't think you can get top deck anymore.
Can you not? That's a shame. But
I'm slightly disturbed at the fact that you've mentioned a couple of times now the idea of sobriety making you more sexy, and I'm wondering if you're thinking that sobriety is making you sexier.
Hey! You can answer that.
I don't think I'm best placed to answer that, really.
Well, no, it'd be arrogant of me to say that. Obviously, I am, but it'd be arrogant of me to say so. I'm coming to it. Have you? I was just thinking, have you learned anything this week? Anything new? Not from what we've been talking about, but generally speaking.
Have I learned anything? Crikey, that's a good question. Blimey, I don't get asked that very often.
I only asked you because I learned something new this week.
Well, yeah, I won't rack my brains then trying to think of something new.
No, well,
tell me what you've learned.
Well, I learned, and it's a bit embarrassing. I didn't know really, but I didn't know what DNA stood for.
Didn't you?
No, I didn't know.
I'm not sure I do.
Oh, well, you see, there's a lot of people, when you ask, they say, think about it, but no one seems to know. It's about...
what does it stand for?
It stands for deoxyribonucleic acid.
Yeah, I don't think I did know that. I wouldn't have been able to say it if I did know it.
I've got it written down, so that's I've had to read that off because I can't get that in my head very easily.
Have you got it written phonetically?
No, I haven't. I have got it written out properly, but but see yourself, I've had a bit of personal growth this week.
That's good, and it kind of reminds me of those. I mean, I don't know whether you put this into that category or not, but sometimes you learn something and you think, how have I got to this age without knowing that? Would you put that in that category?
I would, right. Yes.
Well, so I think I don't think it's that unusual for people not to know what DNA stands for. You probably think as if you think that you would know, but actually when you think about it, as you say, it's quite difficult. But I'll tell you what I learned a few years ago that really was a game changer for me. I thought I never realised that, and that is that water is the same in grams as it is in millilitres.
I don't know if that's useful at all or not.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's flipping useful if you make as much bread as I do, matey.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, but I've never had a call for that. But I can say knowledge is power. So yeah, so you're more powerful. I'm more powerful now. You've told me that. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I was more powerful. I was certainly faster at putting dough together.
Anyway, so sort of wrapping this up, what's your guilty pleasure music-wise this week? Then, have you found a track that you're prepared to share with us?
Yeah, I've got one.
Is it going to make me laugh?
Number 4 or 5?
Number 3, I think, isn't it?
No,
is it 4?
More than 3. It must be 4, I think.
Is it? Must be 4.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know if it's going to make you laugh because, to be quite honest with you, I don't know if you're going to remember it. But I tell you that you would certainly need, to be a certain age because it's a track in the 1970s.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure it wasn't cool to like it at the time, and it's probably still not cool to like it now. Do you remember a song in the 70s called "Oh Laurie" by the Alessi Brothers?
No.
Don't you?
No, I don't.
It's like a sort of smooth. It's like go on.
Yeah,
that's exactly how it went. That's it.
Yeah, I can't remember the rest of it. Yeah, I do remember it, but I didn't.
It's like a sort of pop, smooth jazz song.
Is it? Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it, but I remember not telling anybody at the time because I was a bit embarrassed about it. But when we used to, did you used to record the charts off the radio on a Saturday night?
Of course. Sunday night, yeah.
Yeah, I used to record the charts and then I'd keep playing "Oh Laurie" by the Alessi Brothers, in sequence, so I was obviously pretty ashamed of it. So it must be a guilty pleasure.
It falls into that category, doesn't it? Quite nicely.
I think it does. So
quite well.
What's yours?
Mine is. Do you remember? You remember the group called Kajagoogoo?
Oh my God!
No. It was Limahl, the lead singer, who had a bit of a solo career. It's a never-ending story by Limahl.
No, I can't. Oh,
it's a fantastic track.
Oh dear.
feel guilty for liking it. But it was. They used it in the film with the same name, didn't they? Never Ending Story. Big fluffy dog and everything.
I feel like I've been. I'm genuinely right now feel as if I'm living in a parallel universe. and quite frankly, how you've got the gall to be critical of American rock when you're coming out with absolute shockers like that is totally beyond me. You've got some fun, Rev. You really have got some fun. Limahl, Never Ending Story. My God.
You remember the track though, don't you?
Yeah, I do remember the track. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I hated it almost as much as what's that horrible track from Wet, Wet, Wet? Oh, what's that called? I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes. That one.
Yeah, well, that was a cover version, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know, but their version, I just wanted to punch the television whenever they came on.
But it was number one for about 15 or 16 weeks, wasn't it? I think everyone was pretty sick of it.
Well, didn't Marty Pellow have some problems with addiction?
I think he probably did, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's probably brought on by that shambolic song.
It wasn't good, was it? It wasn't good. The original wasn't very good, but they ruined it. Anyway, we've gone way off mark here, haven't we?
Yeah, well, that's good. So I think we've probably got one guilty pleasure left next week, haven't we?
Is that it? You're going to call it a day after 5 then?
I thought you said 5. We should change it up. We can't just go on ad infinitum with guilty pleasures. We'll have to find another guilty pleasure like 5
movies.
Movies is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, movies is good.
I know those already virtually.
Yeah, I can think of a few. I'm not a big watcher of movies actually, but
no, nor me. But I've certainly got some that I think, I shouldn't be watching that. That's a bit too.
Yeah, is one of yours going to be Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
It's not, because I think there's nothing guilty about liking that one.
All right, Squire.
Anyway,
all right,
good work. Good to see you.
Yeah, and you. I'll see you next week when hopefully it isn't so roasting hot.
Yeah, it won't be, will it? It's on the way down.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Ta-ta.
Later.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Bye.
Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work, visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter, you can find us on our Facebook page at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us to let us know what you think of the show and with anything else that you'd like to ask us. And finally, we want to thank you for listening and ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week. Stay out super late tonight, picking apples, making pies. Put a little something in our lemonade and take it with us. We're half awake in a fake empire. We're half awake in a fake empire.